Special counsel Jack Smith intends to use former President Trump's White House cell phone data in his 2020 election interference trial. A court filing from yesterday reveals federal investigators have gained access to White House cell phone records. A technical witness who examined the phone for usage information is expected to be called to discuss the data during the trial. Prosecutors charged former President Trump with 4 criminal counts back in August. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Jessica Levinson joins us now. She is a CBS News legal contributor and a professor at Loyola Law School in California. It's always great to have you. What is Jack Smith's potential strategy here in using Trump's cell phone data for this trial?
To tie him to what happened outside of the building. We already know what happened in the Capitol on January 6th. But what Jack Smith wants to do, and you saw that graphic there where the first 2 counts were different types of conspiracies, he wants to tie the former president and say he was part of a conspiracy to do what you saw on your television screens. And so a big part of this, I think, kind of threshold number 1 will be to show when that phone was used, what was accessed, what was sent, and then that will be used, my guess is, in conjunction with eyewitness testimony of people who said, I saw the phone in the former president's hands at this time. And so this is really about connecting a dot from the former president, what he said, what information he disseminated, and then what we saw happen later and throughout that day.
So, Jessica, what can the former president's attorneys do to either draw attention away from or even discredit this information that they found through the data?
So I think discrediting it could be difficult. That would really require another expert. Obviously, there's a lot that they can do and they will continue to do outside of the courtroom to try and say, don't look at the data, but look over here. This is a witch hunt. Now, with respect to what they could argue inside of the courtroom, I think what they will try and do is to say, sure, the former president may have posted this, but don't cut that line. Don't connect that dot between what he said and what people later did at the Capitol. And they'll say that this isn't what the president wanted. This isn't what he meant. He did not want this type of violence. He wasn't trying to undermine the counting of the Electoral College votes. So I think it will be less about, although certainly I think there could be some of this, was that actually his data? Was he the one using the phone? And more about what would be a reasonable response to seeing what was tweeted.
Well, this definitely piques curiosity. So let's talk about the time frame. Can we expect to learn more about what exactly the data revealed very soon, or do we have to wait for the trial?
We don't know. There could be more pretrial filings that leave us breadcrumbs, or we could have to wait until a potential trial.
All right, Jessica Levinson, thank you so much. Appreciate it.